Hey, now's a good time as any to check in on Star Trek, huh? Well, this thing that calls itself Star Trek, you know. So, thanks to Comic-Con, there's some new trailers and what have you, and a little tease of, a little too much of a tease for an episode of Strange New Worlds. But first, there was the trailer for Section 31, which was originally going to be a series. So the good news is it's just a movie. So it's one and done, and that's it. I don't recommend watching it. Never had any interest in it, especially what STD did with Section 31 and the absolute absurdity of Georgiou being the focus of it all. I don't even know why they're even calling it Section 31 when it shouldn't just be, I don't know, Star Trek Georgiou. And, this making a hero out of a mass murdering genocidal maniac is, it's strange, but, I guess they thought, hey, this showed how Michael Burnham's influence really changed her and touched her heart, So anyway, but... I thought it would, because the way stupid Kurtzman was pursuing this for so long, and I thought he just wanted to do an espionage type thing or something like that, but this trailer is so bad. It's incredibly bad. It's so stupid. And I mean, it's almost just for the comedic factor of seeing it. Say, yeah, look at you. Look at you. It was terrible. And, you saw the depths of how bad someone could do Star Trek with STD and then Picard, and how it went to where the stupid cartoons look better by comparison. But man, oh man, it just, yeah. So anyway, that's my reaction to that. So Strange New Worlds, I said, well, Strange New Worlds, they did do that time travel episode, which clarified that, yes, this is some alternate timeline and all that sort of thing. And so it's not anything to look at as an actual prehistory of Star Trek. This is a very different Star Trek. So, hey, sky's the limit. They could do anything, but even with that, there's certain parameters that your alternate timeline wouldn't explain, It's like the stupid movies. Kirk's dad died early on, so it changed everything, and so the Enterprise crew developed differently. That doesn't explain why suddenly Mr. Sulu would be gay. Just did it to virtue signal over George Takei being gay, And even he said that's stupid, and then they, berated him for it. So whatever, but here, they kept screwing up Vulcans. They don't understand it. And all they know is soap opera templates. So of course they pursued that with Spock and Nurse Chapel, and then Spock's wife, which is not how that went at all. But they say, hey, look, we've already admitted this is an alternate timeline and stuff. Yeah, but it wouldn't go this way, I mean, I guess if you want to put Chapel on there earlier and say this is alternate timeline, she was on there earlier, and she has an attraction for Spock and all that. Okay, maybe, but the rest of it, the entire development of the Vulcans and their culture and whatnot, is once again flown in the face, and they decide to lead with this little segment, which is not really a trailer or teaser. It's actual quite a few minutes from an episode of where they had an episode where inadvertently Spock, this, I forget what it was called. They explained it in the trailer, but it suppressed completely his Vulcan side, so he looked and acted human and all that sort of stuff, and then his Vulcan side returned, and so he's back to being Spock you all know and love, except this weird version of him. So now, because apparently they'll have some mission where they got to infiltrate Vulcan. And so instead of just doing what the old show would do, where they do some makeup or some sort of, temporary plastic surgery thing they can do with their miraculous, futuristic, equipment. No, hey, let's inject this thing, which accidentally did this to Spock, but now we can do it to humans to turn them into Vulcans. Which is so stupid. And it's so bad. And then instantly they have all the attributes of Vulcans and dealing with their devotion to logic and everything. Of course, that was a conditioning and it's almost like a religion for the Vulcan people that they did, because they were very hyper emotional to the point that they nearly destroyed themselves, and they're very warlike in their ancient past and all this sort of thing. Until they had a philosopher who developed this, hey, let's remain true to pure logic and that sort of thing. And of course, they train their young to do this. And so it's years over someone's life to suppress their emotions as a manner of philosophy and being for Vulcans. That's how they do it. So even if you physically altered the physical attributes of a human being to be Vulcan, they would not have that personality trait. Probably more to the point, they would be even more emotional, and might be violent and stuff like that. But they're too stupid. They don't know to do this. And the whole thing is done for a gag. I mean, they even say, hey, we're going to own all the comments about Pike's hairdo, which he keeps putting more and more mousse in it to make it stand up. So now it's ridiculous. And why it would do that, I don't know. All their hairstyles magically change, which makes no sense at all. But the stupid engineer lady, and man, I don't know what's happening with her voice, but it seems like it's getting pretty rough. I don't know. I mean, maybe, I don't know if she's well or not, but anyway, so they do the whole scene. It's so bad, and it's just another nod to these idiot shows who think they can silly their way out of their stupidity because they got nothing. So then they dress up in Vulcan outfits to go on this mission, and they have to do the slow walk down the hall to some pop music. It's so bad. So bad. And then, but apparently that's not the focus of the show. They immediately, for some dumb reason, they see themselves as full Vulcan where Spock isn't, and so they treat him badly because he's not full Vulcan, and that nonsense. They're not Vulcans. He's way more Vulcan than they are. So, of course, they go and do the mission. They do it very quickly because they're all efficient and stuff. They come back, and they can't change back to human. So, oh boy, it's gonna be a crazy romp on the Enterprise till the end of the episode. They learn all the wrong lessons about things, and it's kind of like Marvel began to believe that the silliness was the secret sauce to their success when it wasn't. And now you have this, probably the movie of the summer, which was Deadpool and Wolverine, and they was see, there you go, that's what it is, and you got to be silly all the time, and you can silly your way out of anything. So, because there's all kind of, there's not much of a plot to the Deadpool Wolverine movie, but it was just, fun. Well, that's because they knew what they were doing, and the silliness of Deadpool is organic within the nature of that character and the previous films. That's not really the case with Star Trek. Yes, there have been comedic episodes. You have to know how to write that. And also you have to understand Star Trek, of course, and they don't. And when you do things like this, but it's just to be silly. Come on. Yeah. And besides, it's an alternate timeline. Again, that wouldn't really explain it. But this is what you lead with, and they're all going through the motions of this is really hilarious, isn't it? I mean, they already did the musical episode with Klingons rocking and singing. They jumped the space shark then, so this really isn't on par with that, but it's just, how stupid can you get? well, oh boy, hey, they're going to show you, you know. Plus, Kurtzman, you know, he was flirting with RTD at the Comic-Con. God knows what ideas he got there, you know. And RTD was just like, oh, this is the best Star Trek's ever been and all that. And boy, after what he's done, it's to Doctor Who. Well, yeah, it was bad, you know. I mean, of course it was, but still. So anyway, there you go. 2 crappy shows. Well, one, you know, streaming exclusive movie for PP, and the sad circumstances of Strange New Worlds, which previous season did have an episode that was about as close to a Star Trek episode as any of these idiots have gotten to. And I'm sure it was completely by accident. So, could there possibly be one buried in this season? I don't know. But man, hey, they think this is their best, which could mean there is a good one in there. They're just too stupid to know it, and it just accidentally happened, you know. So I suppose that's possible, but so anyway, I saw it, so I thought, hey, I could do a video on this. And I got this artwork, you know, and I can do Pike's hair and ears. And of course, you know, the green lady doing the James Bond pose with Giorgio. Yeah, I always thought that was funny. So probably nothing like that will appear in the show, or I mean the movie or whatever, but who cares? Yeah. Sad, isn't it? But anyway, you just, you know, you gotta laugh at it, because what else is there? So there you go. That's my take on the little teases and previews of PP's latest Star Trek efforts.